This is a series I am unironically calling Game of Jones. It is a retelling of the first campaign I ran over the course of about 10 months. Without further ado, here is the prologue, Night's Zenith. Our tale begins in the region of South Haven, a land dominated by few cities and sprawling wilderness. Surrounded by sea and the Euphrates Mountains to the north and west, it enjoys a natural defense against the Empire of Cryptiana to the north and the wild frozen lands of Ardfell to the northwest. Here is our dashing group of adventurers. Morn Carrick, a half-elf from Neverwood. He is sullen and dejected, and longs to escape his past. His father, Sev, was a high-born elf who enjoyed the fine things of society, but also had a base desire to seduce and murder young women. One such woman was Morn's mother, who won him over, and they actually started a family. All seemed good until one day Sev murdered Morn's mother and was quickly imprisoned. Left to the city, Morn was raised in the Crystal Tree Orphanage, where he sought help from another power to help him rise above his station and perhaps seek revenge. One night, a voice answered. Tyron the Many-Faced, a fiend, granted to the young warlock powers to achieve his goals. Meneth, an elf from Carius. She is aloof and hides her emotions. She hails from a wealthy and noble family who had arranged her marriage to secure more financial prowess for the family. Upset by this lack of agency in her life, Meneth fled, to find some adventure before finally settling down, if that's even what she wanted to do. She entered a church and sought help from Alphonsus, a good aligned god, and pledged her service if he would keep her safe on the road. And so the new cleric set out. Myra, a halfling raised in the wilds near the edge of the inscrutable twilight forest. She makes great plains to hide all emotion behind her small face. In her youth, she was raised by a kind mentor who helped her and a select few unlock their own natural powers pursuing the circle of the moon. This continued for a time, until one of the other students killed the mentor and compelled the others to follow him. Myra fled, fearful for her life and heartbroken for her friend's murder. She lost herself in nature, devoting her energies to care for the wilds. Elijah Reinhardt, a human with divine blood raised in the upper district of Neverwood. He pledged his services to the Church of Neverwood, a militant group who expunge any dissent against Alphonsus. He did his best to help the common people, and when a threat rose in the form of a rogue agent working in the crypts underneath the city raising the dead, Eli felt his duty was to help those in need. Even as the ranks of undead swelled, the Church denied any such threat and forbade any actions be taken. Eli would not stand for this, and as the dead walked the streets of the lower district, he broke into the church and stole a holy sword to strike back. With the necromancer's forces in disarray, Eli became a hero of the people, but at the cost of becoming an enemy of his brothers in the service. He was outcast for stealing and forced to wander, looking for a way to protect his family and the downtrodden oppressed civilians. Kirk Goldenbrow, a human from the small village of Westcairn. He plied his trade as a blacksmith, trying to earn enough money to move on and travel the country. One day, a band of moon-eater orcs attacked the village, and Kirk rose to the challenge to fight back and allow the survivors to escape. Udok, twin brother of the chief Azak, challenged him to single combat. Overwhelmed, Kirk held aloft his smithing hammer and prayed to Alphonsus, who answered his prayer and used the hammer as a conduit of holy energy, striking down the band of bloodthirsty orcs. In a haze, Kirk found himself in Trist, on the steps of the church. Kirk found himself in the city of Trist, on the steps of the church. He also found his hammer emblazoned with the stars of Alphonsus, and his left brow bore his crown. Kirk swore an oath to hunt down the remaining moon-eaters and stop the bloodshed. It is this group of characters who received a vision from a strange ghostly figure, urging them to attend the village of Klein for the annual Night's Zenith festival. This festival is used to celebrate the longest night of the year and remember an ancient tradition whose origin has been lost to time. But all five heed the call and head to Klein, who prides itself on its extravagant celebration. The party meets and learns that over the last several years, people have been disappearing. While discussing the fact that all of them have had the same dream, an eavesdropper admits that she has had the dream as well. Her name is Silver, and she is in fact lying, attempting to have a bit of fun with these strangers. Instantly, she is suspect number one. The party get acquainted with several people, from a visiting family to a crazy man in a red hat who tells them their futures, to the sleazy mayor who runs the town and his disrespectful daughter. The ghostly vision is from a young girl, Olivia Springhollow, who was murdered last year. Someone else will be taken tonight if the party doesn't stop it before the big fireworks show this evening. They make their way north of town to the old Spring Hollow Manor and discover it abandoned and ransacked. However, they find a trapdoor leading to some old tunnels. Descending, they find themselves in a temple of Ioun, the goddess of knowledge. They solve a few puzzles and are rewarded with a beautiful ring. Elijah puts it on, and the ring turns out to be a mimic who bites his finger off. They dispatch the mimic, but the ring is now gone. Not discouraged, they push on and emerge in the basement of the church. Devotees to Ioun, the clergy spot them and demand to know why they are trespassing. The connection of the manor to the church also casts them in an unfavorable light. But Morn asks Hope, the priestess, for help. She agrees to search for their records to help. The party heads back outside, and most of the town is gathered for the big fireworks show, and they are out of time. The mayor, Ilan Klein, makes a speech and the fireworks explode, but a woman begins screaming. Her boy has been snatched, taken away. The party rushes into action and follows the tracks in the snow. Myra discovers a trapdoor leading down to the sewers, and they rush in, desperate to stop any foul thing from happening. Ahead, the tunnel opens to a cistern underneath the well, where the local innkeep Shannon and clergyman Endurance are performing some kind of ritual over a boy on a plinth. Morn runs to stop it and sets off a trap. Alerted, the fight begins. It is a long-fought battle, but Endurance is defeated, Shannon getting away by the skin of his teeth, transforming first into a wolf and then a crocodile as he swims away down far below the waters. Morn succeeds in breaking the bond between child and stone, and feels a shadow in his chest. The party emerges, bloodied but triumphant, and the boy is reunited with his mother. The next day is the main celebration of Night Zenith, with much drinking and game playing. There is pie baking and eating, a throwing contest, and archery. In the end, the party faces off against Silver and a few other locals, but win a respectable amount of prizes, including a treasured bag of holding. Elated, the party notices that the winter weather has picked up and birds are flying towards Spring Hollow Manor. The party investigates and finds bears guarding the manor. They sneak inside and find Shannon performing some ritual inside, creating a winter vortex that is destroying what remains of the house. They fight Shannon, who summons the guard bears. Kirk goes toe-to-toe with him and emerges victorious, earning the moniker Bear Breaker. Shannon attempts to flee, with Morn's shadow moving strangely on the wall beside him, but he is stopped. He claims to be trying to stop a greater evil, but is cut short by Morn, who simply kills him. His journal is discovered by Myra, who reads it and discovers that Shannon is the brother of the mayor, and that the members of his family have been making sacrifices on the altar for generations. That some ancient evil was locked inside, and blood would stall its awakening. Shannon was an unwilling servant, dedicated to keeping it at bay whatever the cost, and he believed that it was almost over. That the shadow entity was lessening in power and that it would be sealed away forever. Satisfied that the threat was now handled, the party returned to the village and informed the mayor. Not caring too much for his brother's death, he hired them to take a packet of paperwork southwards to the general in command of Garrison, the nation's militant city. The party acquiesced and headed south.